There's a remodeling company that I worked with once. They had great people, solid reputation. The phones were ringing off the hook. They were booked 3, sometimes 4 months out. From the outside, it looked like a dream. But inside, it was slow motion burnout. The crews were running 10-hour days, 6 days a week. The office staff was buried in calls. Paperwork was not getting done. Nobody took vacations because there's too much stuff. Nobody could take a vacation. The owner kept saying, we're going to catch our breath after this next big job. But then that next job never ended. There was always another one. Then one day, 2 of their best installers quit. They said they loved the company, but they just couldn't keep running on those kinds of fumes. And then it hit the owner like a sledgehammer. Growth had outpaced the culture. He didn't need more leads or bigger jobs. He needed to rebuild his team's energy. My name is Rich Harshaw. I'm the founder of Level 10 Contractor. What we do is we help remodeling and home services companies like yours generate 200 to 500 leads a month with websites, SEO, pay-per-click, media advertising, streaming, all of those kinds of things. Look, if you don't want to end up with a burnout problem, you have to motivate your employees. And I've got 5 ways for you today that don't include paying them more money. Now, obviously, paying people more money helps, but let's be real. Every leadership book and management guru out there says the same thing. Money alone doesn't keep people motivated. So we're going to talk today about some things that you can do to keep the troops in good spirits. Let's start with number 1. The first thing is just having a vision and a purpose and communicating that vision and that purpose often. Here's the thing about leaders. They have to lead. It's not enough to just be the big guy in charge living in some kind of a box separated from everybody else. You have to be willing to form and articulate and communicate what the vision of the company is so people can be involved in something bigger than just whatever their job happens to be. Clearly articulate whatever your vision is for the company and be excited about it. Look, the stuff that you already know is sometimes the stuff that you just need to be reminded about. Enthusiasm is absolutely contagious. Publish the information, publish the vision, publish the core values, bring it up regularly. Make sure that everybody is getting an earful of it all the time. Now, depending on the size of your company, it may not be easy to get around to everybody and have regular face-to-face communication. I get that. My company is, virtual. I don't get around. I've got people that work for me that I've never even met. But here's the thing that you have to consider. Put together maybe a video or get out your Zoom or just get your iPhone out, record an update, send it out to people. Give examples of how your company's vision has been fulfilled, how it's being fulfilled, how it's helping people who are doing the things that you're trying to accomplish within your company. Focus on your customers' wins so people can see. So your people can see, hey, man, wow, look, we're really doing some good stuff for our clients here. This is an idea that I got from Service Champions, my HVAC client out in California. Talked about it on a recent episode recently. It was about their all company meeting. If you haven't checked that one out, go take a look. It's a really good video, if I don't say so myself. Once a month, they would get everybody, all the techs, all the office staff, the call center people, they get them all in one big room. What the hell do you call that thing? There's a link to this episode here. I don't know, look around. The guys are going to put it on there. I expected in that meeting that they were going to talk about sales goals or policies when I attended the meeting, but no, all they talked about was culture. They celebrated their employees, showed family photos. They talked about pets. They handed out good deeds for free awards. They gave cash to people who went above and beyond. The energy in that meeting was unbelievable. The owner was there. He was reinforcing the company's vision through how people were treated. I want to encourage you to do something like that. You don't have to do that exact thing, but you do need to have a vision and a purpose and communicate it often. So that's number 1. Again, I know, obvious, but the reminder. Let's go on to number 2. Send personal notes randomly, but regularly. Find things that your people are doing well and send them a note. Again, randomly, but regularly. Regularly means that you do it consistently. Randomly means that you don't do it every Tuesday at 10 a.m. so people start to notice the pattern. Okay? So that's how it starts, but it has to become a way of being for you as a leader in the company. You can send out handwritten notes. That's always nice, but it can be an email. Text messages are just fine. Just make sure that you reach out. Something like, hey, I heard that you finished a job in 2 days with 0 quality issues. Congratulations. Thank you for being on the team and working so hard. Or maybe you can send a text out like, hey, Dave, I heard that you sold $200,000 last week. Amazing. Keep up the good work. Hey, I heard the Johnsons mentioned you in an online review. Thanks so much for your contribution. I really appreciate it. If this comes from the top, okay, not from their manager, but freaking you as the business owner, it's going to be noticed and appreciated. Send out personal notes. What's the key? Randomly, but regularly. Also, I would definitely track this. Now, I know once you start tracking things, it starts to feel a little manipulative or orchestrated, but look, if it's not documented, you're going to have no idea what you're doing. You're going to forget who you sent notes to. So just track it. Then you go to your managers and you can say, hey, I need to send a message to Judy, Dave, Greg, whoever this week. Can you send me some intel on what they're doing so I can send something meaningful? Okay. So you know what to send them notes about because maybe you don't know. You're not close enough to what they're actually doing. It's going to work. Okay. So number 2, send out personal notes randomly, but regularly. And let's go on to number 3. This one's kind of like the last one, but with a little more oomph, which is surprise perks. Make sure that you have a proactive perk system, not instead of your bonus system, whatever you happen to be doing, but in addition to to it. So I'm going to give you an example. My son, when he was around 18, worked at a sports memorabilia shop and he loved it. It was kind of a tedious job because he was just basically posting stuff on eBay, cards, jerseys, that kind of thing. And it was hours on end. So it get a little boring. Then one day, the owner, the guy's name was Bailey, he walked up to my son and he handed him $60 in cash. Now, he was making like 12 or 13 bucks an hour at the time. So $60 was basically like an entire day's worth of work, cash in hand. He just walked up to him and said, "Hey man, thinking you're doing really good work here. Thanks a lot." And he handed him 60 bucks and he walked off. Now, when this kid got home, you would have thought he was the employee of the freaking year at Ford Motor Company or something. He was on cloud nine. He showed me the $60 like it was a trophy. And because he was 18, and let's face it, he didn't even know what to do with cash. He gave it to me and then I Venmo'd it back to him. But funny story, here's the point. He was over the moon because his boss handed him 60 stinking dollars in cash just because. Now take that concept and implement it into your business. At Level 10 Contractor, we have what we call work anniversaries, the anniversary of the day that you started. We give out gifts and we also do birthday gifts, and that's a good start, but that's not really what I'm talking about. Those are planned and people expect them after a while. What I'm talking about are random gifts. It can be 25, I don't know, maybe as much as $100. I'm not trying to break the bank. Make a little budget for it and then pull from it a couple times a month. And here's the key: random but regular, and also track it. If you're really busy and you're not good at tracking stuff, have an executive assistant do it. Just make sure that you spread the love and hit all your people randomly but regularly. For an individual employee, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. That's all they're going to need to hear from you. Okay? Yeah, look, that's all you got to do. You can do this with notes. A handwritten note with a gift card. "Hey, thanks for doing a great job on the Johnson home. I hear they were thrilled. Here's $50 gift card. Take your family to Chili's," whatever. Boom, it's done. You don't necessarily have to do it personally as the owner. You could have your managers do it, giving them a budget so that they can give some kudos to their people. But if you don't have a system for it, guess what? It's not going to get done. It just will never get done. You have to track it. You have to measure it. So make a system, make sure it happens. That's number 3, surprise perks. Is there anything that you do like this? Do you have a special perk or reward or tradition that really works? Don't keep it a secret. Share it down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're doing to motivate your team. All right, let's move on to number 4 now. Solicit. And not just solicit, but solicit and use your employees' input. In other words, actually listen to them. I was reading this book recently. I have this sort of weird fantasy about doing long distance hiking. I've done a lot of hikes when I was a kid and with my own kids, Boy Scouts. I went to Philmont Scout Ranch once as a kid and 4 times as an adult. So I've kind of got a soft spot for long distance hiking. Anyway, I read this book about a guy who hiked the Pacific Crest Trail from Mexico to Canada. And he told a story about a cheap motel where hikers would stay. The guy at the front desk was a surly, rude guy that didn't like hikers. And there was this sort of, I don't know what it was, like a notebook where guests could leave comments on the front desk. And a lot of them were very, very negative. So the guy who worked there, who was kind of an a-hole, he would just take a Sharpie and black out all the bad comments in the little book. And the guy who wrote the book, the hiker, he said, number 1, when we see the black marks, we know they're negative comments. And number 2, isn't the point of feedback to help you improve? And of course, the guy didn't care. But here's the point. Feedback exists, so solicit it and use it. Okay? If you're not soliciting it, people still have it. They just don't have a forum for it. Ask your people what things suck. You know, what sucks about your job? Maybe you don't want to hear that. You're like, I don't want to ask people what sucks because then they might tell me what sucks. Then I might have to do something about it. Well, that's kind of the point. Ask people about how the company treats customers, about their benefits, about anything. You can do formal questionnaires. You can do one-on-one talks. You can have a group session. Do whatever works. But you've got to create an environment where people feel safe to be honest. No judgment, no punishment, no retaliation. Then use that feedback to genuinely improve things. Don't just black it out like in the story that I told you. If someone suggests something useful, broadcast it. Let the company know. That tells everyone that your culture values input and acts on it. You'll detect problems before they explode and become real problems. Now, I'm going to give you an example. One of my clients, big air conditioning company, had a bunch of technicians who quit over the course of about 2 years. And it turns out that there was a particularly toxic manager that was causing these technicians to get frustrated to the point where they would just quit. And they only figured it out after, I don't know, it was like 10 or 15 people left. I mean, it's a big company, so, it took a minute to figure that out. But once they knew, the first thing that they did, guess what? They fired the manager. If they'd been actively seeking feedback, though, they could have spotted that way, way, way earlier. So number 4, solicit and use employee input. Listen to your people. Go to number 5, proactively encourage work-life balance. Okay, think about this. Nothing says I care about you more than acknowledging and fostering someone's personal life. Be interested. Ask about their spouse. Ask about their kids, even their pets. Take notes. Study them so that you remember that John's wife is Deborah and their son Steve is at Texas A&M or whatever. Their daughter's on the drill team. This stuff matters. I'm going to tell you another story. When I was 19, back in 1988, a long time ago, I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Taipei, Taiwan. Before I left, I spent 2 months in training at Provo, Utah, what they call the Missionary Training Center. That makes sense. Well, at the time, they have what they call the president of the Missionary Training Center, and it was a guy named George Durant. And what he would do is he would walk around the cafeteria line, and on the first day that I was there, there's hundreds and hundreds, I think it's like 2,300 missionaries in total there at that particular time, and there's hundreds in the lunchroom at the particular time when I was there. This guy's coming down the line, and of course, like, he's the big guy in charge here, so he's, it's like, okay, gotta, stand up straight, gotta be on your best behavior, whatever. And he got to me when he was shaking people's hands in that lunch line, and he looked at me and he said, Elder Harshaw from Grand Prairie, Texas. Now, he could see my name because, if you've ever seen missionaries wear those black name tags, and it said right there, Elder Harshaw. But how did he know where I was from? It blew me away. And he went down the line and he knew everybody's hometown. It made a real impression. I'm telling you the story freaking 35 or 40 years later. It mattered. Proactively encourage that same kind of care and connection with your employees. Let people off if they've got a family event, a football game, a drill competition, a spouse event, whatever it happens to be. Or try this. Give everyone 2 screw it out of here days a year where they can just take off for any reason. You take one yourself, tell the people in your company, hey, I'm taking a screw it, I'm out of here day. Let them know that it's encouraged. You're the boss. Don't overload your people. Hire more help if you need to. Look, I know hiring sucks. It's hard. But these people that work for you are your lifeblood. Their lives matter. They're actual humans. Acknowledge them. Know them. Surprise them with perks. Send notes. Solicit input. Proactively encourage them. The title of this episode is 5 Ways to Motivate Your Employees Besides Paying Them More. Yeah, a couple of these might cost a little bit of money. I get that. But it's not a lot. We're not talking about raises or bonuses. We're talking about showering appreciation for who they are. So one more time. Number 1, have a vision and communicate it often. Okay. Number 2, send personal notes randomly but regularly. Number 3, surprise perks, right? Number 4, solicit and use their input. And then number 5, proactively encourage work-life balance. It's going to go a long way towards keeping your team motivated and engaged. Now, if you enjoyed this, make sure you like this video, subscribe so you don't miss any future podcasts or videos that are coming out on this channel, and don't forget to click the bell so you're notified when the next one drops. You can also listen to me every day on the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, that's it. Keep your people happy. Treat them right. I know you can do this. I'll talk to you next time.